Hello, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to my weekly deck reviews. Oh my gosh, before I dive into this week's decks and what I've been working with and how I've been feeling about them, let me just let you know how this works. I work with typically one tarot and one oracle deck every single week, so that is what this is all about. I just want to tell you what I've been working with, how it worked out for me, what I think, what I feel, all my opinions. So if you're here for it, then hi, welcome. All right, so this past week, I have been working with, I'm already itching my nose, the Last Unicorn Tarot by Geekify. You guys, I love this deck. I love it so much. And I have to tell you, I was really concerned that my experience during the Kickstarter campaign was going to sour me on this deck in some way. Thankfully, it didn't. This deck is gorgeous. I have to tell you, so if you are a fan of Peter S. Beagle's The Last Unicorn, the story, especially the movie, you really would, I think, love this deck. At least I do. The production quality on the deck is really gorgeous. The gold foil on the fronts and the backs is just stunning. They are gilded in like a deeper sort of antique-y gold, I guess you could say. They've got a rose petal finish. Okay, so regardless of how you feel about The Last Unicorn itself, I have to suggest, if a tarot deck, if you're into the tarot and a tarot deck comes out about a story that you are familiar with, especially a story you're very familiar with, that is, I think, what makes this such a powerful deck that I thoroughly enjoy working with. The fact that I know this story inside and out, I know the characters inside and out. I've seen the movie hundreds of times. There's so much for me to read in every image. The artists did an amazing job capturing the essence of the story in the artwork. And I think they did a really, really beautiful job selecting artwork to go with each of the cards. I don't have any complaints. There was one or two cards where it wasn't immediately apparent what they were depicting. But then as soon as I looked at the guidebook and I read the little snippet about the story and how it related, I was like, yeah, that's spot on. That's perfect. So no complaints. I think this deck, I might feel differently about this deck if I didn't know the story very, very well. So that's something to consider. But whenever there's a deck around something you know really well, like I know that some people feel this way about the Alice Tarot. I don't know the Alice books as well as other people that I know. And yet I still found that the Alice Tarot worked this way too, where if you know the story that the deck is based on, it just gives you so much more depth to work with and to play with. And I got so much out of working with this deck. This will definitely be a deck that I reach for quickly when I'm reading for myself, because there's just so much here, and there's so many emotions in this deck. Anyway, I could go on, and I will link my full-length walkthrough up in the cards for you so you can check that out, and I will try not to go on and on and on, but suffice to say, I really, really enjoyed working with this deck. My only complaint about the guidebook, which by the way is beautifully made, oh, those are my extra cards. Oh, see, they're on the ground now. Okay, regardless. The book is really, really beautifully made. It's like a faux leather. It's a really nice thick cover. It's got a sewn binding, and it's really nice. Like, the pages are glossy and you have full color thumbnails. It's still a deck-sized book, but it's a really high quality deck-sized book. And my only beef was that there was no spreads. There were so many opportunities to put in spreads, so I'm a little disappointed that there is only the meanings of the cards in here, plus a foreword. I'm just going to hold this up though, because this tells you who the artists are in the deck. So you can always pause this and then just see who the artists were. But there were no less than, I think, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe there were 6 artists. I thought there was only 4. In any case, this was a collaborative deck, but it was based on fan art, so the art is very cohesive. It's all, I mean, this artwork looks like it could have come straight out of the movie. Many of these scenes do depict scenes right from the movie. So the artists did an amazing job really capturing the essence of those characters. It's so good. It's so good. I even love the little bookmark that was built into the book. I really enjoyed this. I obviously didn't want to cart it around all week in its carved wooden box that it came in, but this is really nice, and this will be probably where I store my deck, especially if I can fit it in there with the bag, which I'm going to try to do now. It's worth pointing out that there was a little bit of wiggle room around the cards in the box, which was a minor beef I had when I first opened the deck, but if it gives me room to put the deck in with the bag, that would be amazing. This is the Peggy bag that I have paired with this deck. It's really pretty embroidered purple one. Okay, so we're gonna give this a try. Here's my box, and I'm gonna keep the cords out. Aha, and it does fit. We'll see if the lid goes, but that's what it looks like in the box. So I'm just gonna neatly wrap up my cords there. Where's my lid? And we'll see if this goes. And if it does, then I will be very happy. What happened? Oh, my cord escaped. I was like, why isn't it going? Looks like it's gonna go. There we go. So it all fit in there beautifully in its bag, which makes me really happy. So now this can live on my altar space or up on my shelf. I've got a shelf up there where I keep some goodies. So yeah, really enjoyed. The deck that I worked with beside it this week was The Universe Has Your Back cards by Gabrielle Bernstein. These are very much an affirmation deck. They're not really an oracle deck that you can read really intuitively. It's more like positive messages. I enjoyed working with this beside the Last Unicorn Tarot, but as I mentioned last week, my goal was to let the Last Unicorn Tarot be sort of the focal point, and then just to use these for a little bit of extra oomph in my readings, and it worked just fine for that. I will say that this gets a little bit shallow for me throughout the week because there isn't any deeper messages. There is, if you want to dig into it, I guess, but it's all just like fluff positive, which I like on occasion, but after a full week, I'm like, I think I'm going to keep using this deck the way I have been using it, which is just pulling it out here and there to cap off a client reading or for like an extra bit of message on top of my normal sort of divination stuff, because I think it does really well in that capacity, but otherwise I do find it somewhat limiting. But it was perfect for what I wanted this week, which was something that wasn't going to clash or interfere with my time with the Last Unicorn Tarot. So I still enjoy this. This is my favorite of all these affirmation style decks. And there is another one out now, right now, called, I forgot last week too, Manifestors or something along those lines. Look up Gabrielle Bernstein. You'll find her newest deck. It's in the same style. It's about manifesting. It's cool. But I don't really need it, I don't think, since I have this one. So that's my take on that. The Lenormand deck that I'm working with all month is appropriately the Fairy Tale Lenormand, because as I mentioned last week, all of December I'm going to be working with my whimsical or fairy tale-like decks. I have enjoyed working with this Lenormand deck. It's got Lisa Hunt's artwork, and the guidebook is written by Arwen Lynch. And these do all reference a fairy tale or a story, which is kind of neat. It doesn't seem to interfere with the meanings of the cards. Like we have Rapunzel in the tower. It more just adds a little bit of flavor, if anything, but it didn't really impede my ability to read this as a regular Lenormand deck, so that was really nice. I have been enjoying flipping into the guidebook and just reading the little blurb to see what the fairy tale is that's represented and sort of how the author feels like it ties into the Lenormand system or meaning of that card, and that's been kind of a fun little like add-on to my my daily practice rather throughout the week. So I really enjoyed that. I'm going to keep working with this throughout December, so I will keep you guys posted. I may not mention this again until the end of December when I do my last weekly deck review from my fairy tale decks, but so far so good. The reading cloth I was using this week, which I'll admit I used basically entirely for the purple side, is this one. It has this really dark purple. This is what I used behind all of my card pulls this week. And it has these really cute fluffy rainbow unicorns on the other side, but really I just wanted this dark purple, and I loved how the dark purple looked behind my Last Unicorn cards. It looked really good. I was pretty pleased. So that was super fun, and I just love Peggy's embroidered detailing on her cloths. They just give it something extra, and I just love it. Let's talk about what I'm going to be working with this upcoming week. So, first of all, the deck that I'm going to be working with is, there's a story behind this deck. So some of you may have seen that in recent anti-hauls when I talked about decks that were out of print and going for crazy prices, one of the ones I said I've been keeping my eyes out for is the Fairy Tale Tarot by Lisa Hunt. I have been looking and looking, but it just goes for a price that's way outside my budget. And several of you commented that I should consider just picking up the Spanish edition, which is still available on mass market. I did go ahead and do that, and I was like, I'm sure it'll be fine that I don't have the guidebook, but I have to say, I'm gonna just show you guys what this looks like. This is what the backs look like. Cardstock is regular like Llewellyn, nice. It's got some sturdiness to it. It's fairly glossy. They're still in order, and I'm going to leave them in order because I still want to play with this deck a little later before I start shuffling it. A lot of you have seen this deck. The Spanish isn't too intimidating because the numbers, like the majors, are really obvious what they are because of the Roman numerals, of course. The minors, kind of same deal. They're really easy for me to interpret the Spanish because I at least know my 1 through 10 in Spanish from high school Spanish class, so that's helpful. And I think the courts are really obvious. Focus, focus, focus. There we go. Sorry, I know my fingers are kind of in front of it. But I'm really excited to dig into this and see what I think. I also have the Baba Studios Fairy Tale Tarot, and that is the only one I've had until now that was fairy tale themed specifically. So I'm really interested to dive into this. But my solution to the guidebook had been the Fool's Dog Fairy Tale Tarot app, which has the full-length guidebook within the app. I've had that in my app drawer, app collection for quite a while. And I was like, that's gonna be a fine alternate. But a friend of mine arranged with me a really incredible trade. She had gotten her hands on a copy of the original English guidebook. It was in I believe an eBay listing that she found. So it's full English. It didn't have the cards with it in English, but this is the piece that I really, really wanted because look at how chunky this thing is. Like, I really want to dive into it and read the stories as intended by the author and how they, you know, connect with the cards. And yes, I could have done that in the app, but this makes me so happy because I knew I wanted a paper copy of the guidebook. So I traded away some stuff and it was a really great trade. I'm so excited, so excited. And I'm really looking forward to digging into this deck this week. This is what I'm the most excited about, and I've been waiting patiently because I wanted to have a Fairy Tale December, and then this book happened, and I'm just really excited. So I will be digging into that, and I will let you guys know how it read. I'm super stoked. And the Oracle deck that I have chosen to pair with it is the revised 2nd edition of the original Arthur Rackham Oracle. Now this is a deck, an Oracle deck, that is based on Arthur Rackham's artwork. I had this on my wish list for a long, long time, and I just finally scooped it up when they came out with the 2nd edition. Where is it? Here we go. So this version has this backing. I think originally you could choose your backing, but the new edition just comes with this backing. I think it was a little bit cheaper. It's gilded, and it's pretty glossy. But you may have seen this on other channels. I watched a really great walkthrough by, I think it was Tracy at Temperance Tarot, where she actually goes through this deck and she goes through the meanings for all the cards, which is incredible because there's some really interesting, the meanings for all the words on the cards, because there's some really interesting keyword titles on these cards. So if I remember, I will link that up in the cards for you so you can take a look at her detailed walkthrough because I really loved it. It was really well done, and that was what finally like tipped me over the edge to finally buy this deck. Like I said, it had been sitting on my wish list for like a year, but I really like this is obviously coming, let me back up. Arthur Rackham's artwork was originally showing up in lots of fairy tales. I can't find my words. Showing up in lots of fairy tales that he illustrated. So a lot of the classic like Grimm's fairy tale books and things like that I grew up with, these illustrations were featured in. The artwork can be a little bit on the dark side, but from what I can tell on first flip through of the deck, there's a lot of balance, and there's also a ton of cards, and that is one of my favorite things about an Oracle deck. So I'm really excited to see how this one is going to play for me this week. And I will definitely let you guys know, but I thought that would be really appropriate to use beside the Fairy Tale Tarot. So I will keep you guys posted. I don't have a peggy bag picked out for this one yet, so it will just be kicking around with me this week in its little 2-piece box, but that is what I'm going to be working with. Oh yeah, and the reading cloth I picked, I wanted one with a couple different options for backing, so I've got this really gorgeous bright butterfly cloth. and it's got this really vivid like red pink on the back that is really cool. So that is what I'm going to be working with this week. I will definitely let you guys know how it goes. Please let me know down below what it is that you're working with this week. What has been striking your fancy? You might not rotate your decks weekly, maybe you rotate them monthly. Let me know what you're playing with and what you think of it, because that is how I find out about a lot of cool stuff out in the tarot world, is from you guys. So I look forward to hearing from you all very, very soon. Remember to like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And if you want to book a reading with me, you can always do that over at www.supportivetarot.com. Thanks so much, you guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!